back with Karen King of the Ice House. We're talking about her ice wines and some unusual pairings, from wasabi peas to blending it with a simple white wine. She's got all kinds of really, really great ideas for extending the diversity and life of ice wine. We've moved it from the end of the meal to the front of the meal as a cocktail. It's pretty amazing, Karen. It really is. So you wanted to talk first about your Riesling ice wine. What do you do with this one that's unusual?
Well, Riesling, this one blew me away because I hadn't tasted a Riesling ice wine that had an orange, tangerine, grapefruit note. And that's one of my favorite notes in a white wine. So when Jamie made this one, it was like, oh, this is really heaven. So we decided to pair it again with spicy appetizers. Now, because we're in the winery, we look for simple things that you can pair it with. Things like rice works or tortilla chips or anything that has a little spicy chili and heat kind of a flavor to it, so that people could taste it and see how it pairs. And the thing that I'm always looking for with pairing with ice wine is, again, that because it has a big initial impact of complex fruit, then it goes through that caramelized flavor, and then it gets into its acidity, and usually at the end there's another different kind of fruit note. In this case, it's the orange, tangerine, grapefruit note. So I'm going to have you taste it straight up first, just so you can notice the last notes, and you really have to pay attention for those.
I'm loving that. I don't think it needs anything, but...
You mean food?
Yeah, no, just pair it with more of this.
Yeah, well, and again, for the experience of knowing how it does go with spice, I'm going to invite you to try those. I think you have Rice Works with you?
I have various chips. What's left here? I've been nibbling on them. I have chipotle, I have chili, jalapeno, and I have lime chips. Like, I have all three here.
Okay. Well, the chili is really a good example of how the Riesling goes well with spicy. So why don't you try that with the Riesling?
Okay. Loud crunching noise.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I like it. What's it doing? What's the combination doing here?
Well, again, you've got the chili. Those ones have that chili and salt. So this is the chemistry, 101. You've got basic tastes of sweet, sour, bitter, and salt. The ice wine has the sweet and the acidity. So whenever you introduce the third basic note, you're getting more complexity in your mouth. Like, the aromatics have to be good. But as soon as you introduce a third basic taste, now your mouth is going, oh, that's fun. That's kind of giving me something different. And that is really what makes it work. The other piece is long flavor delivery. Ice wine has such a long flavor delivery. It can marry and pair up with foods that have that long flavor delivery. A simple white wine would be killed by that kind of intensity. But we're enjoying this particular one with Indian food, where I remember reading, don't serve wine with Indian food because it doesn't stand up to it. But this Riesling or our Vidal really does make it taste very rich and powerful.
Yeah, it really just soaks it up. And yet, as you said, you've got various elements with the ice wine already. The spicy chips, whether they're jalapeno or chipotle, which is the Mexican version of spicy chips, just adds another note. It truly is, to perhaps use a cliche, like adding a couple more instruments into the orchestra.
Oh, so I love that.
It was pretty, it was pleasant listening to the opening overture, but now we're bringing in the woodwinds and the percussion undertone, and our mouth is having a lot more fun.
Yeah. And I love that you're talking about music, because I see flavor profiles as music. And the next one that we're going to be looking at, which is the Cabernet Sauvignon and Dornfelder ice wine, it's what I call lower toned fruit notes. Part of the research we did was wanting to understand it's sort of the emotional drivers around different kinds of occasions for drinking wine. And we learned that the Riesling and the Vidal, they're kind of light and fun, and you do the party thing with those. But with the Cabernet Sauvignon, there's a mellowness to it that really
Okay.
just makes you want to relax. So because you've had a hard day, Natalie,
I know. Drinking all day, people just don't know.
I'm gonna invite you to have this one with your chocolate. But
Uh,
start with this because I want you to.
okay.
Do you want me to tell you the notes that we've identified, or you want to do it
Yes.
yourself?
No, I would like to be told first.
So there is a background dark cherry note, and these are, of course, just for viewers who don't know that ice wine, we do not add anything to it. The change of the nuances of notes is only Mother Nature can do that. So the concept of taking grapes and putting them in your freezer and hoping that you get all these wonderful nuances of different fruit notes is not going to happen. Only Mother Nature make the change on the vine. So with this, there's a dark cherry note that is enhanced with bitter chocolate. And so it's a note at the beginning. There's also a little bit of a cooked raspberry, a fresh strawberry, a plum, a fig, and then people often say there's a port quality to it. So it's complex and it's mellow.
It's lovely, and your power of suggestion is working divinely.
Good.
I'm getting all that.
And I think the other thing that I love about this, the color of this is a real ruby red. And Jamie had made a Cabernet Sauvignon previously that was it was pinkish salmon. So he wanted to get a richer ruby red, and he used a Dornfelder grape in his ice wine to get that very rich red color.
And is Dornfelder the German version of Pinot Noir?
It's what I've heard. It's a grape that originated in Germany, but it's now being grown here. So it's like another varietal.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I went ahead. I skipped
for
ahead
the chocolate? Okay, so now you're adding that bitter note.
And the ice wine is now not as sweet in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm liking that a lot.
If you like dark chocolate desserts, then this is when I'd say go for dessert with this one. If you want to do an ice wine for dessert, the others I'd say they're more fun at the beginning of the meal.
This one's really working. Because dark chocolate can be bitter, but the ice wine fills it out, and there's no bitterness, but the chocolate rushes in and fills out the ice wine. Yeah.
I think that whole idea of emotionally, how do you feel at the end of the meal? You want to be mellow. And this is more of a mellow wine. And it's like, I can't really explain from a musical point of view why that is. From a sensory profile, I can do a profile and say, oh, that makes sense. But you know when music is mellow, you know when a wine is mellow. And that's what this is.
Absolutely. This is a burning embers kind of wine. Just flickering little red eyes in the fireplace. Okay. This is awesome.
And then if you still got that boring Pinot Grigio that you had.
Oh, yeah.
This add about just enough color to make it a rosé and see what it does for you.
Fun. Oh, whoops. I think I went beyond rosé, but anyway.
Okay.
Not too bad. Okay. Here we go.
What you don't want to do is add too much so that you're now tasting like an ice wine. It's that threshold level that just enhances it and takes care of either making it more interesting and longer in flavor delivery, or I've used it in a red wine that is too astringent for my liking, and it just smooths it out beautifully.
That's nice. What I'm getting now are wild tart raspberries.
Oh, isn't that fun?
Yes, I'm running through an open field of them. I'll be back. That's awesome. That is so great, Karen. Oh, I love the way you've redesigned ice wine.
Well,
it's terrific.
Thank you. It's been really fun. I mean, it's fun. It really is.
So speaking of designing, tell me about your experiences. You were on the big decision on CBC, and Stephen and Chris, the designer guys. So I think it started with the big decision. Is that right?
It did, and we were a small winery that my brother is the finance guy, and I said, Kevin, how much money have I got in my advertising and marketing budget to move forward? I had just really started the role, and he said, nothing. And I said, okay. So I love social media because it sort of evens out the playing field for all of us doing different things. And I decided to apply for the big decision. And then I had to take photos. I had to use my camera and take photos of us and write quite a long proposal of why we thought we would be a good candidate for the show. And we really wanted to get some awareness about the Ice House out there. And the day after the show aired, our hits on our website went from 100 or so to over 7,000.
Wow. Awesome. And why do you think they chose you? Like, I'm sure there are a lot of struggling wineries. It's not a high margin business. So why did they pick you?
Well, I think, well, first of all, you have to enter or you have to apply. And
Okay.
you have to be willing to say, you know what, they're going to show you the way they're going to show you. And if that's okay with you, that's okay. And on the Stephen and Chris show, I made a blunder on this element that I brought to show how you can press ice wine. And they said, didn't you prepare yourself for national TV? And it was one of those crazy days, you know, and I thought, sorry. So, but you know what? That happens in my life on a regular basis. You know, you just can't be prepared for everything. You can't. And
Absolutely, yeah. No, people like reality. So,
Yeah.
so you were on the big decision, and you went through the whole business case with them. Did you get some? What were the key insights that you got from? I assume it was mostly Jim Treliving that you
Jim Treliving.
spoke with. Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing he did for us was to give us confidence in the project. He said to us, you guys can probably do it on your own, but I'd like to invest. And what we said was, can we wait another 6 months because we're getting into the busy season. We want to know how we're really doing. So we're still negotiating with him. We haven't yet come to any conclusion. But, you know, when you have someone like Jim Treliving believe in your product, it really does feel solid. And so that felt good.
That's awesome. And then on Stephen and Chris, what did you see another big hit on your website or?
Well, they were fabulous. I mean, they were willing to really work with it, and even I think what's neat now when people come to the winery, they come and they say, "Oh, hi!" Like it's like they know me. And somebody said, "Oh, you're like a celebrity," and somebody else said, "No, you're really not like a celebrity. You're like an old high school friend that we know about you," you know. And so that's great because we want people who come to the winery to feel welcomed. We want them to feel like they're an old friend. And, you know, the hardest time is when we have too many people coming in at once and we can't give them the attention we really want to give them. So, yeah, it's the theory behind it was when someone comes to my house, they always get a drink and they always get something to eat. And it's the same thing at the winery.
I'll be right over.
Well, we hope you do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. And so for folks who want to visit you, Karen, what part of Niagara are you in?
Well, we're in Niagara on the Lake, and we're on the Niagara Parkway, which is the main road that goes into Niagara on the Lake. And it also feeds from Niagara Falls. So people who go to the falls and then they want to go into Niagara on the Lake, we're the first winery on the left. So our location was really great. So we were actually having more visitors internationally until the big decision than we had Canadian visitors. They just didn't know about us. They didn't stumble across us. And so the big decision has brought a lot of Canadians. And truly, we keep saying, we're Canadian and we're proud of it. Jamie's one of the few Canadian winemakers who's really had a success. So we're going, yay, 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 we're Canadian.
I'll drink to that.
Thank you.
All right, Karen, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This is my blend, I think. Anyway,
oh, cool. Oh, the rosé?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have fun with this. This isn't over. Anyway, thank you, Karen. Take care.
My pleasure.
And all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
All right.